So just what is the Zorn palette? And can you paint a landscape with it? In this video, I'm gonna set out a Zorn palette and paint a little landscape using this little painting that I did with my primary limited palette, just red, yellow, and blue, and see what I can come up with. My name is Vida Evenson, and I paint grease. So what is the Zorn palette, you wonder? Anders Zorn was a Swedish painter, and it is said, although I don't know if this is 100% true, but it is said, if you guys know, answer below, but it is said that he used just 4 basic colors, and those were titanium white, yellow ochre, vermilion, and ivory black. And you think, okay, well, yeah, if you're doing portraits and things like that, it's probably a pretty good mix, right? For that kind of thing. But what about landscapes? Can you actually paint a landscape using those 4 colors? I don't know. So I thought that I would, take this little sample thing that I did and see if I can do a painting with the Zorn palette. But as I was looking through my paints, I realized I don't have vermilion. I've never had vermilion, so I've never actually used it. And what do you do, right? I mean, you can't just stick any red in there and it'll work? Well, I kind of looked it up a little bit and found that vermilion is an orangey red, kind of a rusty orangey red. So I'm thinking, what have I got in my little box that I can use to create my own vermilion red? So the first part of this video is mixing my red. The second is painting this little painting, here we go again, this little painting using the Zorn palette. And if you like what's going on in my videos on this channel, click the subscribe button and that notification bell so you know when I have a new video coming out. This channel is specifically for all of you out there who think you never went to art school, so oh my gosh, I could never paint. You think you're not creative, but in fact, you are very creative beings. Here I have titanium white, which is what was on the classic Zorn palette, yellow ochre, and ivory black, but I don't have a vermilion red. What I do have is cadmium red mix. It's not a clean cad red. And I have this Indian yellow, which is a very transparent orangey yellow. And I think if I mix these 2 together, I'm going to get a pretty decent vermilion red. They say that you can use a cad red light instead of the vermilion, and that would be just fine. This would be about a medium, cad red medium. Let me just add some of this luscious Indian yellow, which I absolutely love. Okay, I'm just guessing here. Red is a very, very powerful color, so it is overbearing. So I think if I mix these 2 together, I might get pretty close to the vermilion red. Still seems too cad reddish, doesn't it? Let's add a little bit more. That looks a little bit closer to vermilion red, which is like an orangey, an earthy orangey red. It is semi-transparent, but more towards the opaque side, I think. Let's see what happens if I mix some burnt sienna in that. This one here, it's got a little mix of burnt sienna It really does tone it down a little bit. But I'm not sure that that's necessary. I think this would be fine on its own. Let's go with that, without the burnt sienna mixed in, okay? After mixing this red, right, I really kind of liked the burnt sienna added in there because it made it just a little bit more earthy. And I think probably the red wasn't as bright as it was. I don't know, I could be wrong. If anybody knows, let me know, leave a comment and enlighten me. But here's the thing. I didn't add it in. I didn't use it with burnt sienna, just leaving it the cad red mix that I have and this Indian yellow, because it's not a clean cad red, it's a cad red mix. And I don't like to mix too many colors, okay? So I'm just leaving it at that. It's kind of an orangey, semi-transparent red. I think it's gonna be okay. You know, that close enough. It's good enough. It's close enough. Let's just go with it and see what happens. But if I added the burnt sienna and then had to mix more of this homemade vermilion red, well, you know, probably wouldn't get it exactly right. Too many colors mixed in. Just no. So yeah, just those two colors. So what I'm going to do is mix the secondary colors with the yellow ochre, vermilion, the homemade vermilion red that we made, and the ivory black, and mix those up to get the secondary colors in orange, green, and purple, and see how that goes. And then add white and, you know, just kind of change the values a little bit of those secondary colors to just see what's going on, right? Here I have mixed the yellow ochre with our homemade vermilion red and came up with these beautiful oranges by adding the titanium white and getting a higher value of, you know, this orange, and then the yellow ochre with the ivory black, and look at this beautiful green. Oh, I don't think I'll ever use another green for my olive greens here. This is a perfect example of the olive green colors here. And then this is the vermilion red with the ivory black mixed together. And look at this beautiful desaturated purple color. And it's really beautiful. And the thing is, here in Greece, we have very, very bright colors. And like the sky is like that blue, which, you know, I won't be able to get here. Here, let's actually play around with a sky color. Let me just pop in here and talk about the whites. And what did Anders Zorn really use? Well, you have people that are saying titanium white. They give you the list. It's titanium white, yellow ochre, doesn't seem to be any problem there, vermilion red, and ivory black. And then you have others that say flake white, yellow ochre, vermilion, and ivory black. And then you have others saying that, well, you know, you can use flake white and yellow ochre and cad red light and a mix between a Mars black and some other kind of black. And you're like, okay. So which one is it? What did he use? You want to try the Zorn palette and you want it to be a Zorn palette. So what the heck did he use? It has a blue tinge to it. This is not a sky color here in Greece. We have very, very bright blue skies, as you know. What would happen if we mixed the flake white instead? How would that change? Would it change? Titanium white is a cooler white, is useful, I think, for the Zorn palette because it will give you more of that blue color. Okay, I don't know if you guys can see it as well, but with the warmer white, it's more gray. And this, in fact, with a titanium white, has a bluish. So even though we're getting a lot of muted, beautiful colors, I'm not finding a blue. Like the ivory black and the titanium white, even though they are both geared towards the cooler bluish tint and tinge, right? You can see that with the flake white, which is a more yellowy, warmer white. Titanium white actually gives it a blue idea. I mean, you have a sense that it's blue, but it ain't this. And that's what my skies look like here. So I don't know. I really don't know. I'm just gonna sketch it in and I'm using just the ivory black for that. And just getting a sense of where things will go, the different planes. But look at this. I mean, you guys, this is gray. This is gray. How the heck do you blue it up? So I'm thinking maybe as I go along and get all the other colors in, it'll look bluer. And sometimes that happens because it depends on, you know, the colors will show differently depending on what other colors are next to it. So I don't know. It's an interesting exercise, a bit challenging, and just keep playing around with it, stretching it, and putting in, you know, a little slightly adding some red to the ivory black in that and those background hills, and you know, the yellow ochre with the vermilion red work quite well together. Then I'm looking at it the next day, right, in the fresh sunlight, and of course everything works better when you have beautiful sunlight. I mean, I'm looking for a blue, and just how the heck do you get a blue? Okay, it's just too gray. I like a blue sky. I want a blue sky. I want it to be blue. I want to look at it and I want it to be blue. It's just my preference, right? I like it. I mean, yeah, I can move in and see a whole different perspective in the Zorn palette and things like that. But you know, Mr. Anders Zorn, this great artist, and the same time as John Singer Sargent, as a matter of fact, I mean, he used blue. He brought blues in when he needed it. He brought greens in when he needed it. He brought probably a whole array of colors when he needed it. And you know what? I need a blue sky. I grabbed my ultramarine blue, added it into the ivory black, and painted myself a little bit of a blue sky, just an inkling of a blue sky. So as you can see, as I was painting this painting, it got kind of, you know, like I couldn't get the blue, right? And I'm sorry, I'm in Greece. I need blue in my skies. The blue's gotta be blue. Is that such a bad thing? So did Anders Zorn ever put in blue on his palette? It looks like he did. When blue was needed, he pulled it out and he used it. When a different type of red was needed, he would pull that out and use that. And when he needed greens, brighter greens, more yellow greens, just greens that were like, yeah, and not like the olive green color, he pulled that out and used that, probably mixing like a cad yellow and a blue together to make the green. So, you know, don't quote me on that because I absolutely do not know. I absolutely do not know if that's what he did or not. But looking at some of his paintings, it kind of looks like maybe that's an approach he might have used. Can I actually say that in this video here? I don't know if I can say that. You know, well, don't take anything seriously. I added some ultramarine blue to just kind of get a sense of a sky color. I added a little bit of ultramarine blue to this painting
to get a sense that yes, this is daytime. No, it is not going to be a huge stormy, cloudy day, that this is in fact a sunny day. It's a mellow sunny day, but it is in fact a sunny day. It's not the usual skies that I get here in Greece, but when you look at it, if you're not comparing this blue to this blue, when you look at it, okay, you know, it kind of comes through. I guess, you know, if I were really trying to do this, I would have added more ultramarine blue. I would have made it a more of a blue sky. And the rest I can leave. I actually really love the way it's not coming out. I'm going to put a picture up. You know, you can see the difference. So can you add extra colors to a Zorn palette? Well, gosh, yes, you certainly can. Of course you can. We are artists and we can add any color we feel like adding, right? I mean, I'm in my studio, you're in your studio, you've got your paints, I've got my paints. Let's use them. You don't have to lock yourself down into this Zorn palette thing. It might be a really cool exercise though, to lay out these colors and to use them in one of your paintings, whether it be a still life, whether it be figures, portraits, whatever, an animal painting. It's a really good experience to kind of pull all of it together. You learn a few things, not only about the Zorn palette, what Anders Zorn was using for the most part, but you learn something about yourself and how you work as an artist. Be sure and leave a comment below. Let me know what you think. Is there anything else that you want to know about the Zorn palette that we can dive into and take a look at? Let me know. With that, you guys, be inspired, be creative, be you.